Guys, what's up? Welcome back to Simplified by Jinal Shah. So last time I made a poll on whether you want Chelidonium or Dulcamara and it was a 50-50. So here's another video on Dulcamara. The video on Chelidonium is already up. You see this beautiful picture out there. Dulcamara was a drug which was very difficult for me, honestly, and I think only when I made or got into the process of making this video, I I think I remember it correctly and completely now. So by the end of the video, I'm 100% sure that you will be familiar with all the characteristic symptoms, all the keynotes, and everything that you need to know and write in your exams. Alright, so let's get started. Now we will try and fill up the whole picture here. Firstly, we have ailments from. So there are two main things. One is rain and second is getting feet wet. So it's raining, it's flooded, and the person is walking barefoot. That is one very important ailment from. All the complaints of Dulcamara has something to do with this. To the extent that I have one professor who says that in rainy season or in rains unexpected weathers, if there are any complaints, you should always consider Dulcamara to be one of the drug. Okay, so ailment from is rains, walking barefoot, or exposure to cold weather, right? And one more another important thing is suppressed perspiration or eruption. Now, what all can happen because of the rains? Anything and everything under the roof. Firstly, we talk about rheumatism. Now, you see here in black, these are the areas where rheumatism affects the most. This is the back, okay? Then this is the back of neck, right? These are the ankle. So we have small of back, it is inflamed, swollen, red. There is stiffness and lameness. So if you see, all the symptoms are very basic and common to that of rheumatism, nothing more characteristic except the ailment from. Now what are the modalities? Modality, it is worse with touch, worse in night, worse in evening, and better by moving about. So worse at night and evening is a contrasting modality. Rheumatism is usually worse in the morning after waking up. By moving about, very common modality. The feet are icy cold to touch. This is again a characteristic symptom. Icy cold feet. We go ahead. Now, all the perspiration, eruption, everything is suppressed. But that suppression causes a symptom which is increased secretion of mucous membrane. Okay, so if the person has suppressed perspiration or suppressed eruption, he is going to land up with trouble of increased secretion of mucous membrane. This is going to develop profuse coryza. It could be thick yellow, it could be bloody as well with crust. So everything under whatever you can think of, it has to be yellowish, it has to be profuse, and the ailment from has to be suppressed perspiration or eruption. Okay, wants to keep the nose warm because he has an aggravation from cold, as we've mentioned earlier, so he wants to keep the nose cold. Talking about the RS system, we did the nose part, so we go to the throat part. Dulcamara has a characteristic symptom, that is tickling in larynx. I've drawn a feather here to identify tickling. So there's tickling in larynx, there is loose cough, and profuse or free expectoration. So if you see expectoration from the nose or the discharge was profuse, that of cough is also profuse. Both of them are thick and yellow. Okay, and the person has to cough all the time and he has to clear his nose also all the time. So you see a connection here, right? Now we come to the bigger part. One thing about Dulcamara which I have been asked in Vivas multiple times is the umbilicus symptom. So what they ask is, what is a specific location or locality affinity of Dulcamara, and that is umbilicus. Very few drugs, you can repertorize and check it out. Dulcamara has special affinity for umbilicus. Any pinching, shooting pain you have to think about Dulcamara in such patients, and the pains are quite repetitive. They come again and again. Alright. Another characteristic symptom which is more of a keynote, you might not really see it, is the urine symptom. So this guy is holding a urine bag, euro bag in his hand. Um, the urine is whey-like or milky urine. It becomes thick, purulent, yellow sediment like when stored. Okay, so he has a little bit of pustular tendency. There is infection somewhere. There is catarrhal ischemia in grown-up individuals. Again, there is involuntary urination, increased frequency from getting cold or wading barefoot in cold water. So we've mentioned about this earlier, the importance of cold environment, and it is a big trigger factor in Dulcamara patients. We've put him on a catheter because he has to go on very frequently. He can't control it. And this is the bag where we can see that it was initially whey like milky, and then when on storage it becomes yellow purulent with sediments in it. Alright, so even this symptom of urine is very, very, very important of Dulcamara. Alright, so far we have seen rheumatism, we've seen the urinary complaints, we've seen the umbilical complaints, we saw the RS complaints. Now there's one more very important part of Dulcamara, and that is the skin. You cannot forget skin of Dulcamara. Now in skin there are very vague symptoms. Uh, so we have a list of 5-6 symptoms. We will go about it one by one. One is warts on palm. You can see here, this is the palm. I've drawn a wart. They are large, smooth. Okay. Then we have rash on face and hands. This here we go on face, and here on the hands. Now it is very important that you develop some sort of pictographic memory, because we have multiple drugs with warts. Only when you will draw one on a palm in a Dulcamara textbook where it is mentioned, that is when you will remember कि अरे इसमें palm पे है. Alright, so you have to start doing this little things of drawing around. So one is warts, second one was rash, because locality is also different. There are vesicular eruptions. You see here I've drawn a few vesicles. Most common vesicular eruption is herpes. So it has herpes. Then there are characteristic of herpes. They travel in a line and all those stuff. We have urticaria without fever. So again, this is a very important characteristic symptom. Usually urticaria doesn't present with fever, but here it has been mentioned with a lot of emphasis that here the urticaria is without fever, so we take that into consideration. We have thick brown yellow crust. You can see here. You can see a little bit of redness which I've drawn here, which indicates it is bleeding when scratched. Okay, so we did warts, we did rash, we did herpes or vesicular eruption, we did urticaria. Now characteristic symptom in the warts was that it was in palms. Rash was that it was on face and hands. Other characteristic symptom is that it is worse before menses. Now this is again a keynote symptom which is usually asked in vivas, that what is a characteristic symptom of Dulcamara skin. So you have to say that there is rash on face and hands before menses. Okay, before menses. There is urticaria which is without fever. This is again the third characteristic symptom. This is the thick brown. Okay. Then we have herpes, pemphigus or adenitis. We have ulcers, boils or eruptions. So all these things, everything has easy bleeding, everything is sensitive, everything has itching in it, and everything is worse in cold and wet weather. It is not just worse in winter, it is worse in rainy season. That is the main thing you need to remember. Alright. The patient has phlegmatic and scrofulous constitution. This again, if you look here, this is another important symptom, that rheumatism alternates with diarrhea and rheumatism alternates with skin complaint. Again, a keynote symptom, it will be asked frequently in your exams. So this was mainly Dulcamara we did ailments from, then we went to rheumatism. Let me get a pointer. Yeah, so ailments from rheumatism, RS, alright, are you following? Umbilicus, urine, we go to skin. So you see almost a big portion of it is over. हाँ, increased secretion of mucous membrane का जो हमने बोला था, it is also seen in stools. So we see a diathesis to diarrhea, more cough, more urine, more saliva. So you see everywhere the discharges are profuse. Okay, another characteristic thing is dropsy after suppressed sweat. So suppressed perspiration is also causing dropsy. And fever due to getting wet, very common. Any sort of fever, be it chikungunya, dengue, malaria, simple viral fever, everything has, if there is an ailment from of getting wet, you should consider Dulcamara to be a remedy. Alright, so this is it about Dulcamara. Trust me, the whole drug is done. It is around 11-minute video and the complete drug is done. You watch it twice and you're thorough with it, I promise. So if you like this video, if I made this remedy a little bit easier, I've recorded in a lot of hurry, then please hit the like button. Please share it with your friends if you want me to continue making them, because I'm a little low on motivation. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you.